All right, so we're getting into day two. We didn't get to the exhaust yesterday, so we're gonna start looking at that now. I'm definitely not gonna take everything off if I don't have to. The purpose of removing the exhaust is access to the cam belts right here, one there and one here. I'm gonna be trying a little trick here, using a zip tie to put it here in the exhaust spring and tighten it up like that, and then pull it down in order to pull the spring off. Let's see if this works. Yes, it did. It's a nice little hack there. I guess it would work the same way to pull it down to put it back on. Alright, just from my own memory, so I only took off 3 bolts at the end of the day to get the silencer off. This first one here, which I'll label as 1, went right right here. Basically it goes through here and then through this cylinder, and the other one right here has this black piece in between this part and the base here, and then it goes in from the back like that. It's easier to take this one out after that one was removed, so I would do this one first, yeah, in reverse order, and then the other one when putting it back together. So this will be 2, 3 on the other side. This one has a nut on the back as well, went right here into the back of the silencer, just to hold it together from this left side. Took a bit of work, almost pulled the bike off the lift, but just, yeah, gently pull the silencer off. It needed to be kind of twisted left and right a bit, but it eventually just slid off. Yeah, I'm gonna put these bolts actually back in their place to the best of my ability, or maybe I'll keep them off. Yeah, I'll keep them off. Just put them in a bag. Yeah, so silencer's off, it's over there. Definitely gonna see what it sounds like with just this when I'm done. I'm sure it'll sound really mean. But yeah, gonna work on this pipe next, and up to the top and take this guy off. All right, that took a while, but everything is off. Just had to really ease it off of this pipe. That center or middle pipe was the hardest for sure. I did a little WD-40 on it, and then I ended up having to use the hammer, just kind of hitting it down. Eventually it came out. Then this one slid out as well, right up here. We're gonna keep this one on as long as we can. I think we can, and start taking these covers off now. Okay, covers are off. I had to kind of squeeze this horizontal one a little bit to get it clear from the exhaust, so it might be a little tough when putting the cover back on, but I got it off, so it's possible. I just plugged up the 2 exhaust openings with a rag just in case. So clearly a lot of people have been working on this. I want to just take note of all the different paint marks, you know, of what has been torqued where, and just make sure that when I am putting my own marks, I pay attention to these and probably use a different color as well if possible. I'm gonna go ahead and take pictures of these all in detail as well. One thing I will just note now that I want to make sure I don't forget is it's clear some of the screws have a little bit of Loctite or anti-seize or something on it. The ones that do, I want to be sure to put more on. So I will just see which one is preferred, Loctite or anti-seize, and make sure I put those on. Like for example, all of these here holding the cam covers had it, so I just want to make sure to put new ones or a little bit of new stuff on before I close everything up. All right, next we're going to be removing this side plate cover. This is to access the alternator, and it'll allow us to use that hand crank to turn the engine so that we can align the belts, as well as for the shims, just to align at top dead center or wherever it needs to be. All right, next we are gonna get the gas tank off. I wasn't sure if I'd have to remove it or not. We're still gonna see. We might be able to just lift this up to get access to the other valve head right here, but we may just have to take it completely off. So we'll see once we get in there, but that's the next step. All right, what I'm gonna try to do next is lift up this back part of the tank. I unscrewed the 2 bolts here and the 2 on the front. And it says just to protect the front with just some rags or something. And then lift this up so you can disconnect some of the wiring underneath the tank itself. Okay, so it's lifted up. The first thing we disconnected was this earth connector here, the yellow piece. The way it was hooked up was just connected on that metal strand like that, just pushed in. No, it's not focusing. Yeah, just pushed in on like that. We're next gonna disconnect this fuel pump wire right here. It's a white cable. Yeah, get that off, and then we're able to take the tank off, I think, after just touching up the hoses. So for this part here, the white piece stays, the black comes off, and that little like black clip right there, that's what needs to come off here for that pump connector. So we're just gonna get that out. Okay, so we got those relays disconnected. I taped them up just to be careful. So next, really, it's just these 2 fuel hoses right here, kind of holding the tank from being able to come off. There's the evap housing or hoses over there, but those are last. So we have to take these 2 off. Just noting that the one obviously from the left goes on to the left, the one on the right goes to the right. I'm gonna put some rags under there because there's probably gonna be some leftover fuel. Hopefully not too much, but we'll do that next. There was a bit more gas in the tank than I thought there was, even though I pretty much ran it almost empty before I started this, but I just spilled gas all over my hands when taking that first one out. So I'm gonna go very slowly on the next one, try to just, yeah, keep a lot of rags there in case any spills, or get it into this oil pan if possible. But basically a little bit spilt out, so I'm just going to be careful and try to keep it not tilted any more than this, because the more you tilt it up, the more it comes out of those holes. And then also to clarify, the rings, like on this illustration, I was thinking it was this metal ring right here, but it's actually this ring that you need to push up and then pull the whole housing down. So just a little clarification there. All right, that was way harder than it had to be, I'm sure. And I never want to do that again, but I think we're good. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna bother removing those two evap tubes, just because they're not super tight as is right there. They're tight on the connections themselves, but like you can move them. They're not like being pulled completely. And I have enough room here, so I just taped up the entrance to the gas tank, put one of the rubber gloves in the entrance to each hole, so nothing will leak through. And yeah, so now we're gonna start removing these pieces here to get access to this head. All right, so I got this breather chamber out. This is really the only thing that needs to be removed in order to get access to the head. So to take this off, I undid the two bolts on top and then loosened this clamp hose right here. It had just a Phillips head screw on this hose, and that goes right here on the side. And then there's these two grommets that slid into the right side, and then this main entrance went right in that hole there. So it'd go back together just like that. Yeah, we have access to everything. So that's pretty much gonna end it here, I think. I will start to look at the belts next, and then open up all the heads and start measuring shims, or taking measurements for shims if we need replacements. So yeah, we'll wrap this video up right here. Before I forget, just wanted to note that this thing, which was holding the breather chamber, kind of came loose. I'm not really sure where it was housed before, so I'll have to look that up, but it's got an electrical cable on the bottom, and then just yeah, I don't know, this hose here, and then this little grommet or something on the other side. So I'm just gonna tuck this in, but we'll have to figure out where that goes before we put everything back together.